All right, so I didn't mean for this to be part two of the lecture, hit the wrong button. But in any event, we're talking about a vendor in the Huntsville area. It's called Allied Printing, and it's on Pratt or University. It's past the Parkway. And it's a very high-end company that knows how to do work quickly for lawyers, binding, printing, enlarging, enhancing, that sort of thing, duplicating. And I've used them repeatedly. I would rather drive something to Huntsville to be done than wait around a day or two on some vendor here in Decatur, unfortunately. So anyway, Allied Printing. Keep that company in mind. There may be more than one. That's just the one I know is very accustomed to working with lawyers. All right, but back to the presentation modes. This area is another one of those that is all about showing, teaching by showing. If we were in person, we would watch some of these videos together that I have put at your disposal and talk about them from the standpoint of my reflecting on them as a lawyer of some years now. I would be able to show you some things that I've done that I just, for instance, there's a sentencing book, a graphic sentencing memo that I used that is a piece of work I'm really proud of, and it was used to considerable effect in a case, but I don't want to make it publicly disseminated. I don't want to make it part of the record in this course because it contains a lot of personal information about my client's family. Yes, it was filed with the court and the DA, but in any event, if we were together, I could show you parts and pieces of it. So that's too bad that we're not. But I want to tell you that you may be in the position, most commonly I'm talking about juries, but the person that you may want to persuade could be a judge. You have to keep your audience in mind. You could be doing something like attempting through a graphic, a video, a model, an animation to get an adjuster to raise the amount of money offered in a personal injury case. You might use day in the life videos to depict people's injuries and struggles in their daily life. You might use videos to depict a client's life in the context of how they grew up, what challenges they've had in life, in order to inject the element of humanity and emotion into a case that otherwise might not show anything other than the worst thing that a person may have done, much in keeping with the ethic that at least criminal defense lawyers live by, that no one is as bad as the worst thing they've done. Just because you've stolen something doesn't mean you are merely a thief, or because you've killed someone even, that you're just a murderer. Of course, I'm parroting the words of Bryan Stevenson. So a lot of times we'll use videos to contextualize the life of our client so that a court or a jury in a mitigation phase of a capital case could make some judgments about what punishment is appropriate. Sometimes you use these videos to convince a district attorney to improve on an offer or offer a plea to a lesser charge, that kind of thing. So you have to keep in mind who you're trying to persuade, and perhaps you might have similar work, like a video, one that you make to persuade a DA about a particular disposition in the case, and a different cut, a different edit that you might make for the judge or jury in a sentencing determination. But in any event, it's all about showing rather than merely telling. And there are so many ways to do that technologically, and then there's simple ways that we've talked about. And perhaps PowerPoint and that sort of thing is an unavoidable fact of life nowadays. And so the better you are as a paralegal at that, the more valuable you are to the process of preparing for trial. Because most lawyers, somewhere around my age or older, simply did not get trained in that stuff when they were in college. I went to college and law school in the old dial-up internet days and days before apps. We just, you could type on a computer, produce papers. The internet was in its extreme infancy. All that's to say, my education did not prepare me for the sort of things I'm telling you about. I've just had good people working with me and for me, generally younger, who know this sort of stuff. So anyway, I want you to look at the discussion questions first about this website, this vendor, Graphics for Litigators, and just see what's out there and how there are companies that are in the business of doing this for lawyers. If it's a sophisticated item, something beyond an enlargement, some graphic that needs to be created, or some enhancement or whatever, then there is a video about the use of sentencing videos, and I want you to watch that. That's a whole nother discussion that I really want you all to engage with, because I'm interested in the philosophical, ethical dilemmas that are raised by this video. As I say in the introduction, it's a look at lawyers the way lawyers talk to each other. And when lay people look at it, you can see the comments on YouTube. It looks, callous, and looks like gamesmanship versus, what they imagine prosecutors are doing at the same time. I assure you that this sort of discussion and almost the gallows humor that's depicted there happens on both sides of the bar. But I do want you to look at some of the issues that are raised by this notion of injecting emotion into a case. Some people are very hostile to that, but that's how you make a case human versus something about merely parading facts in front of a jury, or pretending that life is merely a matter of black and white, just the facts, and nothing more, nothing about context, or nothing about how things came to be, or what happened in the aftermath of certain events. But anyway, look at that. There's a research project, and then a podcast assignment that I want you to write a paper about, that talks about working remotely. Seems like a very timely topic. God knows when all this virus business is going to resolve itself. Hopefully soon. All right. Very good. Thank you for your attention to this video, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.